Episode 9 is set to have many different twists and turns, as well as surprises in this movie by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of people are truly looking forward to seeing in this movie is exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to utilize the characters of Rey and Luke Skywalker in this movie in order to end the Skywalker saga on a good note. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of Luke Skywalker's big secrets in Episode 9 that is discovered by Rey in this story. Specifically, a description of Rey inside of a stone hut that is said to be the hut of Luke Skywalker on Ahch-To, where Rey is described to travel back to Ahch-To for a very brief scene in the first act of the movie. The next goes over Rey discovering a chest box in Luke's hut, where it said that she pries it open with a tool, where she discovers a manuscript that is dubbed as the Manuscript of Darth Plagueis. It's described that during Luke's travels of finding Jedi and Sith lore, he came across the authentic manuscript of Darth Plagueis inside of a vault that belonged to Emperor Palpatine. It's described that Lor San Tekka was a partner with Luke during this time. Additionally, it's said that Luke studied the many powers and abilities of Plagueis during his time on Ahch-To before finding it to be too dangerous, where he eventually locked it away inside of the box. It's described at one point that Luke thought of burning the manuscript. The last goes over Rey exiting the hut and walking toward a new ship design that seems to be a new E-Wing of sorts, where it said that Rey has a backpack full of Luke's belongings from his hut from Ahch-To. So I want to go over a couple of parts about all of this and why this all sounds very amazing and gives us a little bit more of backstory to the character of Luke Skywalker and what he did after the events of Return of the Jedi that will be explained, partially at least, in Episode 9. Now, first things first, we know little to nothing about what is inside of Luke Skywalker's hut. We only got a little glimpse of what's in there, one of which is, of course, the Jedi Crusader Kyber Crystal Necklace, and the other of which he actually has the compass that leads all the way to the First Jedi Temple location. So the compass, which is really interesting, is he actually discovered that in a vault as well. If you guys played the Battlefront 2, campaign, he goes into Palpatine's vault and discovers it. So with that being said, Rey actually making a return to the planet of Ahch-To in Episode 9 definitely does fall directly in line with what we heard about a couple of weeks ago about one of the actual set pieces being modeled in order to emulate the planet of Ahch-To for a scene in Episode 9. So Rey going back to Ahch-To not only is a direct parallel to when Luke Skywalker went back to Dagobah in Return of the Jedi for a brief scene, it's also a great way to give us, yet another great world in a Star Wars film. Honestly, guys, I think that Ahch-To is a very original and a very inspiring planet in the Star Wars franchise. So moving past all of this, what's really intriguing though, is that during Luke's travels he actually came across the manuscript of Darth Plagueis and even studied the powers and abilities of Plagueis during his time on Ahch-To before locking it away inside of a chest box inside of his stone hut on the actual planet. Now, in case you guys did not know this, I want to give you guys a little fact here if you guys have read The Last Jedi Visual Dictionary. The door on Luke Skywalker's hut is actually a piece of metal from Luke Skywalker's X-Wing that crashed into the ocean, so that's one thing to keep in mind here. Now, moving past all of this, guys, I gotta say, all these different revelations, these twists and turns, and all the different explanations for some of the characters like Luke and Rey, and all the different Sith Lords and the Jedi and Sith lore as well in this film, it's very interesting to a point where, you can only imagine, what J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio are truly trying to do in order to really end the Skywalker saga in a satisfying way for a majority of the Star Wars fans around the world. So the other one of which that I do want to go over is that Luke Skywalker discovered the manuscript of Darth Plagueis. It's actually said to be the authentic one. In case you guys did not know from what we have been hearing, is that there are multiple manuscripts of course, Darth Plagueis that float around the entire galaxy, and Luke Skywalker got his hands on the original and authentic manuscript located inside one of the vaults of Emperor Palpatine. And honestly, guys, I gotta say, the events between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens are so mysterious that they could really make a TV series out of young Luke Skywalker during his travels with R2-D2. And in canon, we do know that there are thousands of missions logged within R2-D2 that he actually went with, of course, Luke Skywalker. So that's one thing to keep in mind for sure as well. Now, the last piece that I do want to go over that really does intrigue me a lot is how Luke Skywalker actually studied the powers and abilities of Plagueis during his time on Ahch-To. And this really does make one wonder on whether or not, Luke Skywalker learned any of those abilities that are actually in tune with the dark side of the Force. We do know that from some of the leaks that we have been going over these past couple of months, we do know that Anakin Skywalker is the one apparently who transferred that power of Force projection onto, of course, Luke Skywalker, and he was actually even talking to Luke while he was using the ability on Ahch-To and projecting himself onto the planet Crate, hence why in the novelization, a voice is speaking out to Luke saying, "Let go, Luke." One would assume that that was Obi-Wan, but it actually ended up being Anakin Skywalker. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.